You can easily update data in a table using an update statement in SQL. I'll show you how to write a simple update statement, how to do more with the statement like updating multiple columns, 2 mistakes that are easy to make, and how to avoid those mistakes. Let's say you've got some data in a table. This could be in any SQL database. And let's say you want to make changes to the data. Maybe you've made a spelling mistake, or maybe the data just needs to be updated. To do this, we write an update statement. This is an SQL statement that is used to update data that already exists in a table. It's similar to the insert statement, which is used to add new rows to a table, or the delete statement, which is used to remove rows from a table. Let's see a simple example. We start with the update keyword. It can be in uppercase, lowercase, or mixed case. It's up to you. After the word update, we specify the name of the table that contains the data we want to update. Depending on your database vendor or database setup, you may need to add the schema name before the table name. For example, in SQL Server, it's common to add the DBO schema before the table name, so your statement may look like this. So you can add the schema name here. I'll remove it as I don't need to add it, and I want to keep it simple. After the table name, we add the word set. This can be in uppercase, lowercase, or mixed case. It doesn't matter. You can also put it on the same line or a new line. It's up to you. I'll put it on a new line just because that's my preference. After the set keyword, we have the column that we want to update. Let's say we want to change the price of this jeans product to 300. To do this, we specify the name of the column we want to update, which is price. Then we have an equals sign. Then we specify the new value for the column. In this example, it's 300, so we can type that. Now we need to specify which rows to update. We only want to update the jeans row, or the row where the product name is jeans. To do this, we add a where clause. It works just like a where clause in a select query. I'll add where, then product name, then equals, then the value of jeans inside single quotes. Finally, I add a semicolon and our statement is done. This is the basic SQL update statement. It should update the product table and set the value of price to 300 where the product name is jeans. Let's run it. In the output panel of whatever SQL editor you're using, it should say it was successful. The actual message will depend on which vendor you're using, but it should say something like this. How do we see the new data? The update statement doesn't show us the new data. We need to run a select statement to see the data. So I'll run a quick select star statement on the table. We can see the new value here, which is 300. We've just seen how to update one row and one column with the update statement. We can also use it to update multiple columns. Let's say we wanted to change the price and the product name of this product here. To do this, we can write another update statement. We mention the table name of product. We also include the set keyword just like before. Then we add the first column we want to update. Then we add a comma so we can add the second column. We can then add the column of product name, then an equal sign, then the word simple shoes inside quotes. This is the new name of the product. Finally, we add a where clause to specify which product we want to update. We can say where the product name is brown dress shoes. It doesn't matter which field we use here as long as it identifies the row. It's also okay that we have specified the product name here and that the product name is being updated. The where clause will check the column before the update to find the right one. We could have used the product ID instead in the where clause. Let's run this statement. We can see here it is successful. Let's select from the table. We can see the updated data in the table here. We see the product name and price are updated. So we can update multiple columns in a table. Can we update multiple rows? Yes, we can. We just have to write a where clause that matches multiple rows. Let's say we want to update the price for all records where the supplier ID is 2. Our update statement would look like this. Our statement sets the price to 95 for all products where the supplier ID is 2. There is more than one product that meets this criteria. We run this statement and it is successful. Depending on your editor, you might see a message saying update successful, or you might see the number of rows updated. We can run the select statement and see the data in the table. The products with the supplier ID of 2 now have a price of 95. Another handy thing we can do with the update statement is update a value based on an existing value. One example of this is applying a discount to a price. Let's say that we wanted to update our prices to reduce them by 20%, but only if the price is over 50. Each product will have a different price, so we could calculate each product's new price and write separate statements. However, there is an easier way. We can update data in a table based on an existing value. Let's see how we do this. We'll update the product table and set the price value. To update all prices to give them a discount of 20%, we can multiply the existing price value by 0.8. This is because 0.8 is the equivalent of a 20% discount. So we can set price to equal price multiplied by 0.8. We've used the price value on both sides of the equal sign, which is valid. Finally, we add a where clause to say where the price is greater than 50, because we don't want to apply this to all records. We can run this and it says the update has worked. Let's see the data. We can select from the table and see the updated data here. Each price has been changed to be 20% less than the previous value. So we can use an existing value when we update a value in the table. Now, there are two common mistakes that people make when working with an update statement. I still make them occasionally too, and I've been using SQL for 20 years. The first is forgetting to add a where clause. With an update statement, only the update and set keywords are required. The where clause is actually optional. This means you could write an update statement without a where clause and run it. If you do, it means there are no conditions applied to the rows, and therefore all rows in the table are being updated. This could be a big problem if it's not what you want to do. How can you prevent this from happening? One technique you can use is called a transaction. I'll make another video explaining this in more detail, but essentially it's a database feature that allows you to group statements together and undo them if you've made a mistake. You can use the rollback statement to undo changes from the update statement. Another option is to regularly back up your data and restore it if this happens. Fortunately, some editors give you a warning if you run an update statement without a where clause, allowing you to stop it before it runs. The other mistake that often happens with an update statement is getting the where clause wrong. You add one, but you specify the wrong criteria and the wrong rows get updated. Perhaps there was a slight spelling issue or it's a complex condition that missed something. In this example, let's say we wanted to include products where the price was already 100, but we specify greater than 100, so prices that are exactly 100 are excluded. If you run an update with an incorrect where clause, then the data will get updated, but it won't be the data you expect. How can you resolve this? One way to do this is to write a select statement that uses this where clause first. You can then see the rows that will be updated. If it's right, you can proceed with your update. If it's wrong, you can correct it and then update the data. Working with the SQL update command takes some practice and it can be quite powerful when you need it to be. There are many more keywords and features in SQL that can help you work with data in different ways. You'll want to watch this video to see a complete SQL roadmap from basics to advanced topics, so you know what else there is to learn and when you may want to learn it. Thanks for watching.